Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Blissed? Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USA Prepares. Thank you for being in class with us today. Dr. Shealy's with us. Dr. Shealy, are you blissed?
Yes.
Are you at your office or are you at the farm?
I'm at the office.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me just do a little bit of housekeeping here. So, class, if you'd like to call us, and we'll pay for the call, 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933, telephone listen line, 712-770-9418, 712-770-9418. That's provided by Global Star. Jason is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota. Thank you, Jason. And I wanted to mention, I think it'd be nice if we had a corona panic update, kind of like man and woman on the street. Yeah. So if you see something and you'd like to call us, something that you've observed, something that is, accurate, something that you can say for sure, bona fide information, you can call us and let us know.
I never knew you were such a character. To suggest that there's one fact that is absolutely unequivocally correct.
Yeah. Well, this, I got to tell you, Dr. Shealy, this thing is really unfolding very, very quickly. So I wanted to ask you first, if it's all right with you, have you had any observations, discussions with, anyone whom you have come in contact with that you can share with us? I don't want you to divulge medical secrets or, private information, but just generally, are people saying anything that's catching your attention? Are you observing things that catch your attention?
Oh, what I observe is conflict and discrepancies and variations on a theme. In other words, from the beginning, I haven't seen anything that makes me think this is a straight story.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is the numbers keep changing, different sources, different numbers, different rates of communication, meaning the R naught factor, things like that. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Dr. Shealy, I was getting into the studio this morning, and I was trying to fit my headphones on, and I have not had a haircut in months. So I look like... So I look like, if you watch some of the old series, Columbo, my hair is as long as his. If you look at the Beatles when they first came out, maybe a little longer than that. And if you look at Little House on the Prairie, Michael Landon, like that, that's what my hair looks like. And I'm very concerned about people going to get haircuts for a couple of reasons. One, if they get a haircut, it looks like everything's okay and they're well off, and they may become victims of, people who say, you got more than I got, so I want what you got. I'm concerned about that.
Well, my regular barber's closed. I know there is one open in Pleasant Hope, but I'm not willing to go over there and get contaminated with other people.
Well, okay, right, because... class, if you've ever watched your barber or beauty stylist, whatever that person might be called in your neck of the woods, they use the same scissors, they use the same combs, they use the same clippers, okay? They use all the same tools, same hair dryer. They touch the hair dryer, if they're going to blow dry it at the end of the cut. And that's the same pair of hands that they use to use the scissors and the comb. And it used to be that barbers would never, ever grab a pair of scissors or a comb without sterilizing them first. And a barber with a red and white barber's pole outside their establishment is to have to take a test and to prove that they knew about hygiene and to prove that they knew how to shave you, a men's shave with a straight razor without cutting you. Really. And the test for a barber, and I'm talking about a guy back then, it would be typically a barber, not a gal, back maybe in the 40s, 50s, 60s, would be that they give a final exam, and one of the components of the final exam was the barber would have to shave a balloon, a common balloon, and without breaking it, with a straight razor. So if you could do that, then you probably wouldn't, be killing your customer while he's in the barber's chair. And that's all true. But, did you want to get shaved with a guy from a razor that just nicked the guy before you?
And if I remember correctly, having gotten haircuts back in those days, I think used to cost 25 cents.
That's absolutely right. When I was growing up, a haircut was 25 cents, and then all of a sudden it jumped sky high to 35 cents. Literally. It was when I was growing up, a haircut was 25 cents. Mm-hmm. Yep. And let's see, shaving a haircut, 2 bits. 2 bits is a quarter, right, Dr. Shealy?
Right.
So you get and before that it was a shave and a haircut for 25 cents. So are your contacts saying anything else that are they saying to you anything that you would like to share?
No, again, to me there is utter confusion and extremes of fear and derision, if you will.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple things I'd like to share, and then we can get into some other discussion. We're talking about the corona panic. So in our house, we used to, in the good old days, like a couple months ago, we would get haircuts. We'd see the same regular person. I'm sure they're closed. And that same regular person, month after month after month for years, obviously knew us by name, by voice, and so forth, knew the family. And that business is closed. So the person that cuts your hair touches your face, touches, if it's a gal, her apron, okay? And there's hair on the floor. They use the broom. They sweep up the hair that's on the floor from the previous customer, but that's the same broom that they touched for the previous customer. So now there's a lot of contamination potential. So I can see that getting a haircut is kind of a risky thing. And even if you look nice and neat and clean, that's a risky thing because you may be a victim, and maybe not today, maybe soon, in the next couple of months, you may become a victim just because you look neat and clean. Another thing that I'd like to talk about is puppies, and we can do that in just a minute. We have Kiana calling us. Kiana, welcome. You're on with Dr. Shealy.
Hi, this is Kiana. I'm from Missouri, and I wanted to see about treatments for MS that are alternative, especially for patients that don't have access to doctors that will normally prescribe alternative treatments.
Well, the only significant alternative that I know that could have a significant benefit in MS is Gama Pulsed Electro-Magnetic Frequency. It does have an effect on every cell in the body. It's totally safe. And in my experience with a single MS case who's used it, has made a difference.
Okay. And what about low-dose naltrexone?
I'm aware of it. I've never personally used it. To me, it has mixed reviews, but it's probably fairly safe.
Okay. And I have a child that also has intractable migraines. She's 17 years old. She's had 4 years where the migraine has never gone away. We've tried every medication that they could throw at her, and nothing has really made a dent. And is there anything, we've tried the FODMAP diet, a lot of other things. Is there anything that you've ever found that can help with that?
The number one successful treatment for migraine is temperature biofeedback control. It works. Okay. If they will practice it within a week, most migraine patients can bring it under control. Learning to warm the right hand fingers mentally.
Okay.
Dr. Shealy, how would we do that? How would Kiana teach the child how to do this?
Well, in the old days, the insurance companies used to send out calendars that had a little thermometer on them. You can actually buy those little thermometers fairly inexpensively, glass thermometers, or you can get an electronic thermometer, and you hook it to your right index finger, and you measure the baseline temperature. It's usually cold in people with migraine. And so you begin talking to your hand, like my right hand is warm, imaging warming up. And most people can learn to warm the temperature up to 94 degrees. You mentally can learn to warm your right hand to 94 degrees temperature. That brings the headaches under control in a majority of people.
Okay. And I had one other question that is kind of on a different topic as well. I have a son who is 21 years old, and he has treatment-resistant depression with the MTHFR mutation, the most severe form. And he does take the L-methylfolate to help with that, but I was wondering if you had any ideas about some of the alternative treatments, like taking thyroid replacement therapy for treatment-resistant depression.
Thyroid replacement is good for thyroid, but rarely is good for depression. I have worked with only 30,000 chronically depressed people. There are many, many approaches to there, ranging from cranial electrical stimulation to the Gama EMF device and some nutritional things, but that does require close supervision.
Okay. Well, you have given me some things to try. I really appreciate it.
Kiana, let me share with Dr. Shealy some of the information that I know about you. Dr. Shealy, I met Kiana over the phone a few days ago. I was interested in learning about puppies, German Shepherd puppies, to be exact. And so I happened to meet her, and I liked her over the phone. And she seemed like a very nice person. So we just, the chat just happened. And so we were talking about all kinds of things, and her MS came up. And I mentioned that you were on the air with me talking with Julia Schopick. And Julia Schopick, Schopick, wrote a book called Honest Medicine. And in that book, there is a discussion about low-dose naltrexone. And Kiana was interested in pursuing that. And she's learned about Julia Schopick. She has heard about you prior to this. And Kiana, can you hold, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right. So Dr. Norm Shealy is with us, MD, Springfield, Missouri, and Kiana's with us, and she's in Missouri. We'll be right back. Class, Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, normshealy.com, NORMSHEALY.com, normshealy.com. That's the website if you want to get your vitamins, mineral supplements from the same place I do. You can get them right there. You can order them on the internet. And we have Kiana with us, and she's in Missouri, and she has MS. And she and I were talking about Dr. Shealy's interview right here in class with me and Julia Schopick. And so she had heard about low-dose naltrexone, Dr. Shealy, and she was wondering if she could maybe do a consultation with you, either video or telephone. Do you do that kind of thing still?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've always done Skype, Zoom, telephone, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And and the PEMF device that the Gama PEMF device, you mentioned that. What would be Kiana's best shot at treating her multiple sclerosis? From what you know so far.
My own experience suggests that this has a mellowing, if you will, in cutting down on exacerbations, etc., better than anything else we've tried. It does need to be used a minimum of an hour or two a day, but that's, my choice at this particular point.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else that you wanted to ask Dr. Shealy?
Well, using this device, does it help with cognitive symptoms or just mainly the physical symptoms?
Yes.
Or both?
It's great for the brain. Its greatest benefit is in people with advanced, even almost Alzheimer's, but certainly advanced Parkinsonism, we've had remarkably good results. And in depression and anxiety, it's great.
And does it help any with reversing any symptoms that you like with myself? I have really bad memory. I forget everything, and I also have trouble with my walking, with falling, slurring speech when it's really bad. Does it help with the problems that are already in place, or does it just keep new ones from getting worse?
Well, my experience in that is primarily in people with significant problems like Alzheimer's disease. One woman, when I first examined her, couldn't tell me the day of the week, let alone anything else. Within a month, she could name the weeks of the month and the months and all that. So it has shown reversal, at least in that kind of memory loss.
Okay. And is it a device that you have to, have prescribed by a physician?
Well, you can actually buy it directly off our website, but if you want to find out, it's best I like to try it here in the office for half an hour or so people understand its use, but it can be used at home without a visit.
Dr. Shealy, would you explain to Kiana what the pulsed electromagnetic device is, the Gama device, how it works, what it looks like, and so forth? Because I don't think she knows.
It's a round thing about 8 inches in diameter, and it looks like a coil. It's coated with a yellow plastic because some of my patients call it their halo, and therefore we made it look yellow. It is an electrical device, and currently it is a rechargeable battery device, so you can walk around with it. You don't have to plug it into the wall the way the initial one did. It puts out 5.86 cycles per second up to 56.81 cycles per second every 10 minutes. It sweeps. Those are the frequencies of the various nerve centers from the head to the toes. And it just reestablishes the normal minus 70 millivolt charge in every cell, which helps circulation and function of the cells. In other words, in a healthy cell at rest, it has a minus 70 millivolt charge. When it's not healthy, that charge might be minus 50 or 60, and this helps restore that, so it goes back.
Okay. Does it have any effect on if someone were to have...
Kiana, we're going into a break. Hold your thoughts, write down your questions, and we'll be right back with Dr. Norm Shealy. We're talking about the PEMF device. Dr. Norm Shealy is with us, medical doctor. Kiana's with us in Missouri. Kiana, just to give you a visual of what this device looks like, as Dr. Shealy said, it's a coil. It's actually a coil of wire. It's an antenna, if you will, and about 8 inches in diameter. It's got a yellow covering over it, plastic covering, and it's driven by electronics that in the package is about the size of a deck of cards. So that's it, and it's non-invasive. It doesn't hurt. There's no pain. There's no bleeding. There's no incisions. and you just place it where Dr. Shealy tells you to place it for the amount of time, and you repeat as directed. So, Dr. Shealy, if you could, please continue with your discussion of the pulsed electromagnetic gamma device.
Well, of course, some people sleep with it. Some people put it under their pillow. I can't put it under my pillow because I hear a clicking sound when it's under my pillow. Most people don't. But I can put it on my head and I don't hear a click. And you can wear it on your belly or any part of your body. No matter where you've got it, the whole body gets it. But if you got it on your belly, your head gets about 50% as much as if you got it directly on your head.
Okay. Does it have any effect if someone has any implanted devices? I have a vagus nerve stimulator.
Well, it depends on what you mean by implanted. If it's an electronic implanted device, you wouldn't use it. It won't hurt you, but it might interfere with the electronics inside the body, like a pacemaker. But as far as, metal screws and rods and things like that, it wouldn't have any effect.
Okay. And I had one other question about, are there any particular supplements that you would recommend for people that have problems with nervous system disorders or autoimmune disorders? Well, there are many. Of course, again, I recommend an extra B complex, that's the Dr. Shealy's Essentials, my youth formula, which is vitamin C plus MSM, astaxanthin, which is the strongest form of vitamin A, vitamin D3, which is essential for the immune system, and for most people, some taurine. The amino acid taurine is quite a good moderator of nerve function, and magnesium lotion. All right. It's quite a mouthful, but... Yeah.
Kiana, what you can do is, if you'd like, I'll send you a link to this broadcast, and you can find it on YouTube. If you want to look for yourself, you can go to the Ron Gibson channel, or you can go to Genesis Communications Network and find it right there, and download it, and then you can take notes based on, because I know we're going pretty fast here for some of this new terminology. Yes. But, however you'd like to do that, or if you want to give me a call. Do you still have my phone number? Don't read it on the air, please.
Yes, I do. I won't.
Okay. You can call me after the broadcast. Well, call me, around noontime or something like that, and share with me your email address, and what I'll do is I'll send you a link if you'd like to do that.
All right, that sounds great, and thank you very much, Dr. Shealy.
You are welcome. Have a good one.
And Vincent. Thanks.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Candace, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was Kiana. And Dr. Shealy, I met her because I wanted to learn more about German Shepherd puppies. As we're going down this Corona panic road, I thought that people would be extremely interested in puppies, and because of this lockdown. And some people think it's going to be over in a couple of weeks. I don't think that at all. I think that this...
That's the joke du jour.
Yeah. I think that this is going to last for years. The way of life that we used to experience in the good old days a couple of weeks ago is gone for the rest of our lives. And so I wanted to learn about shepherds, and I wanted to learn, I think 2 shepherds is better than 1. But of course, the consumption of shepherd food is 2x. And, but, if you are in a situation where it's life-threatening and people are attacking you, it's nice to have 2 dogs defending you rather than 1. So I wanted to learn about, I've had shepherds, most of my life, but I wanted to talk to someone who is more of an expert, and Kiana is much more of an expert than I. So 2 males, here's what I've learned. 2 males, if they're puppies, they might get along for a while, but eventually one of them is going to show the other one who's the boss. And that could be a bloody confrontation for them and anyone who gets in their way. A male and a female would work fine, but they can't be brother and sister. Otherwise, so one of them will have to be altered, if you will. And that means going to the veterinarian. And who wants to go to the veterinarian unless you absolutely positively have to, because other people have been there and there's animals. And we know that cats can transmit this to cats. Dogs can transmit this to dogs, and other animals can transmit it. So now the question is, can cats transmit it to dogs, and vice versa? And can field mice carry this as well? So I don't know the answer to those questions, but I want to make sure that we keep our animals away from other animals. The best of all possible worlds would be 2 females if you're not going to go see the vet, because they can't reproduce and they're not likely to fight with each other. They might, just once or twice show, the other one who the boss is, but, without lots of blood. So that was where my discussion was leading, and that's how I ended up meeting Kiana on the phone. So I just wanted to share that. So what I found, I talked to a number of people about puppies and dogs in general, and what I found was quite fascinating. And I was wondering, what would the corona panic do to impact the price of, we'll call it purebred animals, dogs? And I didn't know, because you could think about this and you could say, well, shoot, there's going to be a tremendous demand for puppies if people think that this is going to last a while, because they're going to want companionship. Then you could think the exact opposite. Well, it will drive the price down, because who's going to go get the puppies?
Like everything else.
Yeah. So I can tell you what's happened. Both have happened. So, for example, the individual breeders who sell to wholesalers, we'll call them the Missouri puppy mill operations. They're finding out that the wholesalers don't want them, because the wholesalers can't move them because the pet stores are closed. Okay, so they don't want them. So now the breeders are selling them individually, but they're selling them at lower prices, some of them. Some are selling them at lower prices because they realize they've already cut out the middleman. They're still going to make as much as they would by lowering the price, because the middleman is not in there, the wholesaler. And it can happen very quickly. They can sell the dogs very quickly, meaning in a day or two, a whole litter. The other thing is, other breeders are saying, you know what? There aren't a lot of puppies out there, and they want top dollar for them. So the prices are still high, as if nothing had happened. So what I found was, you could buy a German Shepherd for $2,500. Seems like a lot of money to me. You could buy one for $800, $700. Seems like a lot of money to me. Some breeders are selling them for $400, and if you buy 2, $300 each. So the $300 price is the price of 20 years ago, as I remember it. So that seems, although that's a lot of money, it seems way more reasonable to me than, the $700, $800 prices for German Shepherds. So I wanted to share that with the class. Dr. Shealy, do you have any comments about puppies living longer, puppies in the house, raising them, any of those things?
Well, there's good evidence that having a dog that you want increases your health and longevity, because it helps raise your oxytocin. Having the dog kiss you or stroking the dog actually raises your bonding, nurturing hormone.
Now, we're not talking about getting that saliva all over your mouth, right?
No. Just petting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we have a number of dogs here at the farm, and what's really wonderful about that is, if I sit down at the computer, they'll sit right next to me, and one will sit next to me, then a cat will come over, then another cat will come over, because, they don't want the other cats or dogs to get more attention, so everybody wants attention, and then they're all here. And so whoever sits down, they want to be right next to the family, and it's kind of it's a wonderful thing. It really is. So, but then again, you're going to have to, if you decide you want to buy one or adopt one, you'll have to be really careful. And I've talked to some breeders, and they're quite concerned about meeting people that they've never met before, because they don't know if the customer that they talk to on the phone is going to be over in a couple hours. They don't know if that person has been to the supermarket or, the Chinese factory outlet, or where. And, what's on their clothing, what's on their hands. There's no shaking of hands. Everybody's wearing masks now. And I don't blame them. What are your thoughts about masks, Dr. Shealy?
Well, I think if you're going to be exposed, you need one. On the other hand, I don't wear one here at the office because we don't see patients who are that ill. And so I take my chances.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's something that I remember from doctor's visits over my entire life, that, your doctor would say, okay, open up, say, look in your eyes, and, to pull down your eyelid a little bit, left eye, right eye, look in your ears. It's really hard to do without touching the patient, right? Really.
Almost impossible.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, okay, open up wide when the patient has a face mask on. It's almost impossible to use a tongue depressor without touching the tongue depressor and without holding the patient's head. So it seems to me that medicine has got some interesting challenges. And I don't know, I can't even imagine what the answers might be as to how to do these things without a doctor physically touching the patient. I remember the old reflex, that little triangular rubber thing on the end of a little hammer. What is that called, Dr. Shealy? That
reflex hammer.
A reflex hammer. Okay. So, class, it's a triangular-shaped rubber end on a hammer, and the physician would tap your knee, and to see if your knee would react and jerk. And so that was one of the things. Now, the doctor would touch your face, the hammer, the tongue depressor, the
baby, will
scope.
you see my whatever you call it?
What was that? Oh. We got something going on, Dr. Shealy.
An invader.
It wasn't here, I can tell you that. So a physician or a nurse is going to touch a whole bunch of instruments, doorknob, the lever to operate the reclining exam table. I mean, a whole bunch of things with each patient. And, of course, magazines. Do you want to read a magazine that's been read by who knows whom? That's a real challenge. Dr. Shealy, when we come back, I've got some things that I think we should talk about cleaning. For example, there's some reports on got to clean our house more often rather than less often. Okay, Dr. Norman Shealy's with us. Dr. Shealy, there's an article on the internet talking about germ hotspots living in your home, and an alleged expert says you need to clean things that we might not have thought about. And, we know about the kitchen counter, we know about the floors, we know about the rugs, but things like oven gloves. We reach into the oven sometimes, to pull out hot dishes or hot pans and things like that. They need to be cleaned and disinfected. Towels that we hang on the I don't know. Some people hang them on the refrigerator handle. Some people hang them on the oven handle. They need to be changed more often during the coronavirus panic. And so, for example, the towels that we use, we should wash them way more often. Whatever we think, don't let them just hang and dry out and use them over and over again. We need to wash them more regularly. And they say that we should wash the laundry towels by soaking the towels in warm water and a cup of vinegar and a tablespoon of baking soda. And I don't understand that. I understand the vinegar and I understand the baking soda, but not together. Do you have any thoughts on that, Dr. Shealy? Washing towels in that much vinegar? It seems like a lot of vinegar to me.
I don't know what the routine should be. It depends on how often you use them. I mean, maybe you only use them once a day. If you use them every hour, you're going to have to do them every day at least.
Mm-hmm. What we have done is, over the years, we put maybe a teaspoon of Pine Sol in with the laundry and wash those towels, every day in the laundry. And I don't know if Pine Sol is the right thing to use. I don't know if vinegar is the right thing to use. I don't know what the best choice is. But we do use vinegar to disinfect the counters. Is that something that you recommend, Dr. Shealy, or is there something?
Well, I I usually wipe off the counter with a soapy sponge, but I would imagine vinegar would be okay.
Mm-hmm. And do you throw those sponges? Would that be a cellulose sponge? Is that what you're using?
Yes.
Okay. Throw that in the laundry?
No, I just
machine?
Wash it in very hot, soapy water.
Okay. All right. And there's information saying that you should wash your pillows and pillowcases more often. That makes sense to me. Washing pillows can really make them lumpy. But what you can do is you can spin them an extra time, and that's what we do. With our laundry, we have a conventional upright washing machine, meaning it has an agitator. It's not one of these new deluxe fancy ones. It's the old-fashioned type that's been around since the 1940s, probably, 1950s. And it has an agitator, and you lift the lid on the top. And what you can do is you can put your laundry in it, and after we wash our clothes, whether it's blue jeans or shirts or sheets or whatever it is, I or Mrs. Finelli or the boys will set it to an extra spin cycle, an extra spin rinse at the end of the washing cycle. And what happens is water will come down and be pulled through the clothing by the spinning centrifugal force. So more water will go through and rinse. And the reason we do that is to get off more of the estrogenic compounds that are in the laundry detergent. So that's something that we do, and I thought we'd mention that. But they say you can also, Dr. Shealy, what do you think about extra rinsing the clothes? Get the soap off or the detergent.
Well, my washer has a button you push for extra rinse, and I use that every time.
Okay. So we do the same thing. We do it before the button for extra rinse was invented. We do it that way. So we just do it manually. So whatever you need to do, class, that's what you should do to do an extra rinse. And then it says put some baking soda on your rugs. Now we have animals, and they don't always wipe their feet when they come in the house.
And the time has come when our German Shepherd brings in at least one tick a day and then squashes it on the floor.
Isn't that nice?
The joys of the puppy.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Tonto?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a nice dog you have. Absolutely wonderful. And
now, he is the world's friendliest dog.
Absolutely. I came over to your house one day with some fruit and nuts, and you weren't there, so I knocked on the door and knocked. And Tonto said, "Come on in, this is the way. Just put them on the counter right here."
Yeah, all the delivery people love Tonto. He is so friendly to them.
Yeah, when we come back, Dr. Shealy, after top of the hour break, can you give us your advice and counsel as to how do we handle deliveries today? The FedEx guy, the UPS guy, the U.S. mail guy or gal, if they come by with, your mailbox. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? How long do we have to be concerned about the coronavirus living on boxes, packages, the inside packaging? Do we wear a mask, gloves, respirator? What do we do? Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, and if you'd like to go to his website, class, and get those supplements that he was talking about, the Youth Formula with MSM, that's vitamin C with MSM, that's what I take, and the Essentials, Dr. Shealy's Essentials, his multivitamin, normshealy.com. Everyone all set? Cocked, locked, blissed? Hour number 2 of USA Prepares with Dr. Norman Shealy, medical doctor. I want to give you a quick update. So the wholesale price of gasoline in New York Harbor and the Los Angeles Harbor is 50 cents a gallon today. It's up. It was lower than that a few days ago. And the price of gasoline at the pump, with all the taxes, the average of 61.5 cents per gallon tax across the United States. You can buy gasoline in Nixa, N-I-X-A, Missouri, right now for $1.29 at several gas stations. And if you do the numbers, class, in the corona panic, those numbers are currently daily number of new infections, 33,324. infections per day. Those are the latest numbers I have. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. So you do the arithmetic, that's 23 infections a minute spread across the United States. Now, it's not equally spread across the United States. There's some hot spots that have greater infection density. But the average number of infections per minute is 23 per minute. So if you spread that across the United States and you say we're, uniformly distributed, it would be one infected person in each state every 2 minutes. These are staggering numbers to me, Dr. Shealy. Your thoughts?
Well, the interesting thing is that it depends on whom you listen to, and the numbers change every day. And the evidence is overwhelming that they're not unequivocally diagnosed. Diagnosis is apparently being made with anybody who's sick almost, and it's not being made with confirmed COVID-19 proof. So I don't trust anything I hear from any source whatsoever right now, including the CDC.
Okay. All right. So how does that relate to your reaction to going out and, the way it used to be in the good old days a few weeks ago? Would you consider just going to the shopping?
No, I do think that would be somewhat foolish. I think you need to protect yourself as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And so I do tend to stay away, especially from strangers.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think. So, this is having a dramatic impact on all kinds of normal daily activities. So, for example, I decided I would call my insurance agent, a guy that is a friend of mine, and I want to move our insurance for our home and our car to him. I talked to him about 2 weeks ago, and I thought I'd call and follow up. His office is closed. So now this is not the big city, okay? This is a tiny little town with maybe one or two agents, and they probably take turns, sitting at the desk. So it's not like it's a bustling business. It's not like it's New York City. It's just one very small office with one or two people in it. They're closed. And so it rang through to the headquarters. So what they did was they forwarded their phone to the national headquarters. And you can think of this like a State Farm or an Allstate. So they're closed. They're absolutely closed. And what I'm seeing is in our little town, we have a farmers cooperative. They sell grains for cows and chickens, and they sell fence wire and fence gates, and they sell some plumbing supplies, and they sell some injectables. The farmers can inject vitamins and supplements for their cattle and animals, and they sell things like that. And what I'm seeing is more and more people are calling them up and saying, tell you what, just leave it outside. Just here's what I'd like to buy. I'm serious. I'm absolutely serious. So in the evenings when they're closed, you see these items lined up by customer. So if you bought four bags of feed, yours is in the pile, and the sales, the 8.5 by 11 printout for you is there, so you can see whether it is yours or somebody else's. And it's on the honor system. I mean, it's already paid for. You call up and you say, hey, I'm Joe Dokes. And here's what I'd like to buy. May I buy this? And do you have it in stock? And can you leave it outside for me? And I'll pick it up, after y'all are closed. And that literally is what's happening. Something that stunned me, Dr. Shealy, was I called this cooperative and I asked them about dog pens. And they have 10 by 10 chain link dog pens with a gate you can go in and out, and I wanted them for chickens. And so I called up and I said, but I want a very specific type, but I don't want to come there and, when you're open. Is it okay if I come when you guys are closed after hours? And they said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And here's what stunned me. If you want one, just take it and let us know.
Now that is the honor system supremo.
Yeah. So what I did, what I did was I went with our son, and of course we had all the gear on, and I said to our son that we're not going to we'll park the truck right in front of the door to this business, and the fence gates and all that are, in the lot next to the building. I said, we'll park the truck right here by the front door, and we're not going to move it. We're going to leave it right here, and we're going to walk over to where the fence gates and pens and things like that are. And the reason is I said, look, I don't want anybody thinking that we took something that we didn't take. So we're not going to put the truck there. That way they'll see that, if they look at any footage, if they have a camera and video system, I don't even know if they do, that they'll see that we didn't steal anything. And then the next business day, I asked Mrs. Finelli to call because I was on the air and let them know that thank you very much. We saw it, but we decided not to buy one. And the reason is I didn't like the construction. The price went up from the last time we bought one, and the quality of the construction went down. So it's thinner, lighter, less welds on it, sloppy welding. Kind of looks like it's made in China to me, but it says it's not. But it says USA, but I don't know. I think maybe the label's made in USA. Anyway, I was very surprised at the way business is being conducted now. Now it's a good old-fashioned way where customers were trusted and merchants were trusted, which is kind of a nice thing. But it's also because people want to touch.
Interesting thing, and that is, after all, we are approaching April 15th. So 2 weeks ago, I sent a note to my accountant, CPA, and I was told that my IRS thing would be ready by early last week. Still nothing, so I sent a note this morning. Well, we're behind, but we'll get it to you soon. But he isn't giving me even a date yet. And I mean,
all right. So why is he behind?
The 15th. I'm sorry.
So why is he behind? What's the reason to be behind?
Everybody's behind.
Yeah, but but does that? Okay, here's what I don't understand. Is he behind because he's not getting information from your vendors? Is he not get? Is that the reason?
Well, I always give him the information at the end of January every year, after 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I know about the IRS. So the deadlines have been extended 60 days, and so has Missouri's. So because Missouri uses the IRS filing to complete the state filing. So we have 60 days for the IRS, and we have 60-day extension, and we have a 60-day extension for the state of Missouri. So, class, if you're going to be filing your taxes, you might want to check into, the latest extensions. And it's not just that. It's motor vehicle registrations. It used to be you had to get it done within 30 days if you bought a new or a used vehicle. New to you, you had 30 days to register it. Now it's 60 days. And you know what? I think nobody's going to bother you. I mean, I'm not saying don't register. I'm saying that I think the police aren't going to want to, have you coughing on your license and registration. They're not going to want to pull you over. They're not going to want to talk to you. Nobody's going to want to talk to anybody.
Well, interestingly, by the way, this morning when I arrived at the clinic, nobody was here. I opened the car door, and the alarm in the building was going off, and nobody was here. So I sat in my car for another 5 minutes. The alarm went off, and fortunately, the lady in the other office in the building came, and she came in and turned off. The alarm was still off. But shortly thereafter, the police came. Nicest guy. And they just wanted to be sure everything was okay. And he walked through the building with me to be sure everything was okay. But that's the quickest I've ever seen the police respond to anything. And really exceptionally nice. And he did not have on a mask.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm reading stories about people becoming much nicer than they were previously. And it seems like whenever there's a crisis, people seem to come together and help each other, as they did in 9/11. People who, get out of my way, I'm in a hurry, pushing each other out of the way on the sidewalk of New York. Now everybody's, helping, or almost everybody's helping. Well, over the years, I had mentioned that my concern when this happened, and I didn't know if it was going to be a virus or what it was going to be, but when this event, whatever it might have been, was going to happen, I mentioned that I think that the police and the officials are just going to stay home. That was what I said. Well, here's the headlines, dailymail.co.uk. Law and order fears for New York City as nearly 10,000 New York Police Department and Fire Department New York members call out sick. This was Friday. So Friday, 10,000 cops and firemen called out sick in New York City, 10,000. And obviously, some of them are sick, and I would surmise that some are saying, I would be sick if I went to work.
Well, I'm really blessed and thank this young man because I can't imagine. You know, I've never actually had any fear of the police. They've always, every time I've come in contact with, they've always been extremely nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, that's wonderful. I'm glad you've had those experiences. You know, there's some of our instructors who have had the opposite experiences, where they've been dragged out of their house. You know, cops will come knocking on the door. Steve Angle, who lives in Hayes, Kansas, called me, and he said it was over the weekend, and it was really late at night, like midnight, and there was a banging on the door, and he got his 45 automatic pistol and went to the door, and just saw somebody run by the studio. He got his 45, and when he looked out the window, saw it was the police, he took his gun or his pistol out of his right hand, because he's right-handed, and put it in his left hand, held it by the muzzle, and then opened the door, and the police saw him with a gun, and they dragged him out of the door, threw him down his steps, and beat him up, and put him in the hospital.
Wow.
And they said, you called 911. He said, no, I'm just watching TV. So be careful if you open the door. So that's the other end of the spectrum. Dr. Shealy, and I'll be right back. Class, Dr. Norman Shealy's with us. Dr. Shealy, has the corona panic impacted your practice in
yes.
Springfield, Missouri?
There's no question that we have far decreased new patient visits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you think that's because they just don't want to come out of their homes?
Yeah. I mean, I think people are, following the edict. Stay home.
And okay, I'm okay. I'm okay staying home. I really am. I believe that this was going to happen, for years and years. I thought we were going to have the Y2K, and it seemed that, a lot of us in the computer field fixed a bunch of computers that wouldn't roll over to 2001, January 1, 2000, and 2001 and so forth. That there was a lot of scrambling to make sure that wasn't the takedown of the economy, and we made sure that we did our best, and it seemed to be okay. I've expected this kind of a panic to happen for a long time. I'm talking, I literally expected it for 30 years, and I've been wrong. This time it seems to be absolutely positively real, but some people think it's still a fake, a fraud. Painfully, I tuned into a couple broadcasts, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. 1 minute it sounded like the host, the talk show host, and his guest said that this is really serious, and then the next guest came on, and it's like, this is a fake, this is a fraud, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And the reason that I'm stunned by this is I believe that people who listen to radio for information want to hear the truth and hear what they should do about it. Some opinions on what's happening, some facts on what's happening, and the host saying, well, here's my take on it, here's what I think you should do. And I didn't hear that. What I heard was it's real, and then I heard it's a fake. And that's really confusing to people. And I think that's one of the things that you were talking about in the beginning of this broadcast, that the information, you get diametrically opposed information. Yes, no, on, off, right, left. And it's very, very confusing to the person who's trying to figure out what's going on.
Yes, it is all. all over the place. Mm-hmm. Every extreme known.
Okay. And here's the headline. This is on Zero Hedge. Quote, cops break up crowd of lockdown, ignoring mourners at Brooklyn rabbi's funeral. End quote. So what happened is, in Brooklyn, New York, there was a rabbi who passed away, and there was a whole bunch of Jews that were dressed in their funeral, what'd you call it? Funeral vest? Yeah. Well, no, these guys had hats on, big hats, wide-brimmed hats, kind of sort of like Abe Lincoln would wear. They're all in black, and they were, jammed in like sardines. A few of them had masks, not all. And they were, congregating very, very close together. And the cops broke it up. It's like, look, hey, don't you get it? Don't you understand what's happening? You can't do this. And so what I'm seeing is people who are in flagrant disregard of the social distancing. Why do we have to tell people not to jam up, like sardines against each other and swap bodily vapors? Why do we have to do that? But we do. So I don't think there have been arrests yet, but I mean, what do you do with someone who flagrantly violates conduct that would keep other people from getting sick? Like these twerkers at the spring break. I mean, 70 of them chartered an airplane, and they flew in an airplane together on spring break, young people, and everybody knows young people don't get this, right? Well, they came back. Now 44 of them, more than half, have tested positive for the coronavirus because they knew that they were immune because it only happens to old people. So who did they infect? Everybody they came in contact with, probably. So 70 people went down to spring break. 44 of them tested positive. Now, did those 44 people come in contact with anybody else? Of course they did. Was it one person, two people, 20, 100? And that's what happened in St. Louis. One guy had to break quarantine with his daughter and go to a father-daughter dance, and 1,000 people were infected as a result of those two morons. When we come back, Dr. Shealy, let's talk about a concentration camp for death, now known as nursing homes. Let's talk about that. Class, Dr. Norm Shealy is with us. Dr. Shealy, just as a side trip during the break, I went to Sam's Club online, Sam's Club, and I looked to see if there's any flour available. There's no flour. I looked to see if, and this is nothing new. This has been going on for weeks, actually months. I looked to see if there's any spaghetti. There's no spaghetti. They have a really nice package of burrito pasta variety pack. 6 packages, 16 ounces each, $6.92 for the 6 pounds of spaghetti. It has instant savings of $1 off, so it's normally $1 more. Now it's $6.92, but not in stock. So it's listed, but you can't buy it. Same with yeast. What I'm saying, Dr. Shealy, is the things that people might want to have at home to do some of their own cooking, learn how to cook again, bring us back, maybe 70 years to the 1950s where, mom would stay at home and cook and take care of the family meals in the house and those kind of things. Well, I think people are thinking that they should learn how to do that again, but you can't get flour, you can't get yeast, you can't buy spaghetti, and your choices of pasta sauce, very, very, very limited, if you can get them at all. So it's Sam's Club and Walmart.com. So, Dr. Shealy, I just wanted to share that with the class. Nursing homes. Nursing homes have got to be the modern concentration camp for the seniors. It has to be. The reason I'm saying that is no visitors. So you can't go see your loved ones, and I can understand that because they want to make sure that you don't bring the coronavirus with you and visit your loved one and then have it spread to the nursing home and kill everybody. I can understand that. But also, people in nursing homes can't get out. They're trapped. Dr. Shealy, your thoughts about nursing homes and the corona panic?
Well, as with everything else, I would prefer to die at home, and if I told my family under no circumstance should they ever put me there, just leave me alone. I don't mind dying. I don't want to be tortured to death. And so I would never electively move into one.
Yeah, and so what would your recommendation be as a medical doctor about someone who has, let's say a degenerative disease that would put them into a nursing home, would you recommend that the family do their best to try to take care of that patient or that loved one?
Well, that obviously is up to the circumstances of the individual family, whether they're capable of doing it. And if they are, fine. If they're not, then they have to, but I think they must pay attention to the desire of the person if they're competent. And my desire is I don't want to move into anything.
Yeah, you want to stay at home. Yeah. There's a
and I don't mind being home alone.
Well, and you do spend a significant amount of time at home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And reading? I know you don't watch television. A lot of reading?
A lot of reading. I got 5 new books on Friday.
Now, how long will it take you to read one of those books?
3 to 4 days.
Okay. And is that
I am a speed reader.
Did you go to Evelyn Wood's Reading Dynamics?
1961. I took Evelyn Wood's, yeah.
And
1,000 words a minute.
Oh, that's impressive. With what kind of comprehension?
Excellent. A+.
Okay. Well, they taught me, I went to Evelyn Wood Reading Dynamics as well, and they got me up to 2,000 words a minute with zero comprehension. I was really moving. So, Vinny, what'd you read? What'd you read? Huh?
Well, my favorite reading for most of my adult life has been metaphysics. So I look into metaphysical reading because it's just more pacifying to me, if you will. Mm-hmm.
So metaphysics meaning beyond physics.
Yeah, Claude Steiner, for instance, one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. How about Edgar Cayce?
Oh, of course. I've read many, many Cayce things over the years.
Dr. Shealy, what do you think made Edgar Cayce special?
Well, first, second, third, he actually did seem to speak in a trance. He put himself into what they called him the sleeping prophet. And so all of his things were transcribed from handwritten notes taken by his secretary, Gladys Davis. And but he was apparently at least 80% accurate on making medical diagnoses with it, just knowing the name of the person.
Mm-hmm. And is Carolyn Mays, is she doing the same type of thing?
Well, she does it wide awake, and she is 93% accurate in my testing of her.
Well, if it's okay with you, I'd like to share a little story about you and Carolyn Mays. May I?
Of course.
It has to do with me. So, I was at Dr. Shealy's office in Springfield, Missouri, and I had a terrible lung situation. And all the diagnoses pointed to cancer, lung cancer. I'm not a smoker, and so forth, and I don't do risky things. I just don't. And so Dr. Shealy asked me, he said, may I call Carolyn Mays? And I said, sure, that'd be wonderful. So he went into the next room, called Carolyn Mays, and she diagnosed me remotely right then and there. It took a matter of, I'm guessing, about 3 minutes for the entire phone call. And she was 100% accurate. 100% accurate. Never met me. And it was not cancer. And she said that. She said that right then and there, which was stunning, Dr. Shealy, because all of the medical people who were looking at me, poking on me, and, sticking me with all kinds of devices, thought that it was. Now, how did she do that? Do you know?
Well, again, this is superb intuition, and then again, when I tested Carolyn, which was back in 1984 or 5, she was 93% accurate in making a diagnosis with just the name and age of the person. But then there's also Bob Lightman, a physician, and in reading your psyche, not just your medical illness, but your psychological, he was 97% 96 or 7% accurate. He could even give you your score on the MMPI, the Minnesota Motivated Personality Inventory.
Can you tell us what the MMPI is? I remember taking the test, and I believe that was an inventory of skills, right?
Yeah, it's a broad understanding of your psychological, mental, emotional state. And, it's one of the most standard of all psychological tests. There's about 150, if I remember correctly, questions. And
is that the test that points to what you would be good at in life when you're younger, let's say a teenager?
No, it's more about personality, like depression, anxiety, social skills, that kind of thing.
Okay. Cooter preference test. That would be the one for skills, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mine came up, said I should be a mechanic. I think it was in the high 90 percentile for being a mechanic, maybe 99, 97, something like that. Dr. Shealy, a few weeks ago, we reported that there were 2 cases of people infected by the coronavirus in Greene County. And I'm looking at the map right now. I'm just going to zero in over Greene County, Missouri. And it looks like there are 64. So we went from 2 to 64 people infected. Yes. Greene County, Missouri, 64 confirmed cases right now, 7 deaths. So this is moving really quickly, extremely quickly. Do you have any further recommendations that we should really take to heart about not getting this? I mean, the big thing is not get it.
Well, of course. And again, the number one thing is don't get panicked. Nothing is going to ruin your immune system like fear.
Okay, so pay attention, be deliberate, don't run around like a chicken with his head cut off.
And detach from those things you cannot change. My favorite word, state of consciousness in the entire world. If I can't change it, I'm not going to allow myself to get upset over it. Okay,
so what I'm noticing is that the internet is really slowing down. I measured it, and my numbers were 25% decrease in bandwidth, and that was weeks ago. And I think it's getting slower. And I believe I know why. I believe the reason is more and more people are working from home, and because when you're at work, you can access the servers at work without going across the internet to access the servers at work. Now, to access those servers, you've got to compete for internet bandwidth. So those people who are working from home, allegedly working from home, are using more of the internet bandwidth. And then we've got those who are have been laid off or furloughed, and they're watching Netflix, and that is eating up the bandwidth, and so forth. And people are not going to the stores to buy things that they would normally buy, like the Chinese factory outlet for food and clothing and things like that. So they are online at Walmart.com or SamsClub.com or Costco or wherever they're shopping online, and that's chewing up internet bandwidth. So that's something that I see. Now, we could break or fracture the internet as a result of all this because it was really never designed to be this robust. Well, now we are really testing the limits. And it's frustrating because it's breaking here at the farm. And just because we want to use it to do some research doesn't mean we can, because it's not as reliable as it could be. We're experiencing that. And that is going to be a real problem because a lot of control systems run on the internet. Let me give you an example. So when a store wants to order something, they get on the internet and order it. Well, if the internet's down, they're not going to be able to order it. That's a supply chain problem. And it's a supply chain problem when people are limited at Walmart. And one of the things that we'd love to do is, class, if you have some Corona panic updates, and when I use the word Corona panic, what I mean by that is all the results of what people are doing about the coronavirus. They're buying things that they wouldn't normally buy. They're spending money that they wouldn't normally spend because, I believe, that people don't trust the government. They don't trust the numbers. As Dr. Shealy said, we don't know what's true and what's not true. So because we don't know, we don't trust. And because we don't trust, we want to make sure we have that food and we have those things. So that is the ensuing display of what I'm calling the Corona panic. So be careful about the internet. Be careful about going in public. And buying clothes, I think that's going to be tough. I was just looking on the internet, Dr. Shealy, and it looks like Walmart is planning to close its auto centers and enforce limits on purchases of milk, eggs, and certain products as a response to the coronavirus pandemic. So the purchase limits apply to paper products, milk, cleaning supplies, hand sanitizers, water, diapers, wipes, baby formula, baby food. So, we all knew this was coming, but closing their auto centers, that was something that might have come to a shock because a number of people who are uninformed about how oil changes should be done and how Walmart does the oil changes might be surprised that they doesn't look like they're going to be able to get their oil changed anymore. So the auto center installs tires, balances tires, fixes flats, changes oil, replaces windshield wipers, bulbs, things like that, illumination bulbs. Looks like that's going to be closing. So now, where are you going to get your car serviced now, or attempted to be serviced? That's quite a shock. So I wanted to share that with our class, that you're going to have to learn how to do these things, class. We've been saying it for...
But nobody can come out and teach you because they get within 6 feet.
Right. Well, Dr. Shealy, this is a big problem. Tires are a big problem. Probably a month ago, we decided to order 6 tires for one of our vehicles. Now, the reason is it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, and a lot of vehicles are all-wheel drive. So you cannot, if you have 50% wear left on your tires, and you have 4 on your all-wheel drive vehicle, and a lot of vehicles are all-wheel drive, you can't just go, if you get a flat and it cannot be fixed, or a puncture that cannot be repaired, or a tread separation that can't be fixed, you need a new tire. But the new tire has to match the same diameter as the old tires, the other 3. So then what you have to do is you have to buy 4 tires instead of replace the one that you used to be able to replace when you had a front-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive, they all have to be the same size. Otherwise, the transfer case destroys itself because the car's going, the tires are going different speeds, and the transfer case can't handle that. So we decided to buy, we have one of these all-wheel drive vehicles. It was a used one. It's got a couple 100,000 miles on it. And we decided to buy tires. And we decided, well, should we get 5 tires or 4 tires? We decided, no, we're going to get 6. And then we can put them all in rotation, and they'll all wear out, roughly the same amount at the same time. And that way, if one gets shredded by a rock on our dirt road, then we can replace it rather than having to buy 4 more tires. So we wanted to buy 6. Why am I saying this? Because it took 3 separate deliveries to get 6 tires from the largest tire distributor in the country. 6 tires, 3 trips. Because they didn't have them. They didn't have them in Springfield. They didn't have them in the surrounding area. And they had to go across the nation to round up 6 Pirelli tires. That's not like it's an oddball brand. It's a top-tier brand, common size, 3 trips. So what I'm trying to say is items are in short supply. Dr. Shealy, back to the nursing home. What do we do for our loved ones in a nursing home to help them? Because I think they're trapped. I think they're absolutely trapped.
Yeah, if they don't already have a computer or iPad or something like that, they're in hot water or no water.
Mm-hmm. All right. What I did for Sonny Skidmore is I contacted your office, Dr. Shealy, and I bought exactly what you recommended. The astaxanthin, the Dr. Shealy's Essentials, and Dr. Shealy's Youth Formula, and some other items. I had it shipped to Sunny Skidmore because she was in a skilled nursing center where she had her legs amputated and she's learning how to walk again. And so I wanted to make sure she had the best jump start she could possibly have. And you helped her on the radio here with us months ago. And I really appreciate that, you telling her what she needed to do. And I wanted to make sure she had the supplements. So, class, if you have someone who's in a nursing home whom you love and you want to contact Dr. Shealy's website and order the supplements, they can ship them right to that nursing home. And that's exactly what I had done. So I used my credit card. Dr. Shealy, can you do one more time in the remaining minutes? If someone has a loved one in a nursing home, what would be the minimum essential that you would recommend that they would have shipped? This is not a commercial class. It's not a commercial. This is an endorsement.
Units. Dr. Shealy's Essentials 2 a day. Dr. Shealy's Youth 4 a day. Astaxanthin in today's world at least 20 milligrams a day.
Okay. So Dr. D3, 50,000 units a day, right? No.
Yep. No, once a week.
Once a week. Take it one day, once a week. And then Dr. Shealy's Essentials, which is his multivitamin. And then astaxanthin, you said 20 milligrams, right?
Right. And
is that once a day?
Yeah.
Okay, once a day, 20 milligrams astaxanthin. And Dr. Shealy's Youth Formula, which is vitamin C and MSM. And how much should we take a day?
4 a day of the youth.
4, okay. That's 4 Youth Formula every day. I guess you'd spread that out morning and evening maybe, or all day long?
I don't think it matters. I mean, I take all mine in the morning, but I think either way it works.
There you go. Dr. Shealy, thank you so much. Class, may God help us.